Hello. Welcome back to the Command Center. This is going to be the ultimate or penultimate video. There is a new superhero time in very early development, which I would like to be the last video of what I would call the comeback series. Here's the problem with that. These take anywhere between 4 days and 2 months to put together. Very rarely do I have an idea. I can get the script out, go through a script editing phase really quick, maybe have the lovely assistant or somebody else beta read it, go through voiceover, make additional edits to the script based on how well I like the voiceover, then another round of voiceover, then looking for assets, B-roll, all of that stuff, and then putting it in a video, find some nice music, whatever. So I'm not sure, which is why I'm making the announcement, or rather, I'm doubling down on the announcement that the comeback series might be 8 videos instead of 10. We have a couple of commentary videos. This will be one of them. One new superhero time. One new superhero time team up. And one shitpost. And a very special video that's a long time coming. That should have been made, to be honest, 6 months ago, perhaps? So I hope you guys are looking forward to all of it. But today is not about that. Today I want to talk about something, and I want to talk about the FGC, the fighting game community. I want to talk about what that term even means. What group are they referring to? And you know, it's very strange. It's very strange to talk about the FGC because there are so many people who are a part of the FGC who go, I don't want to be a part of the FGC. My personal definition, which is the definition I'll use for this, is just about mirrors the sentiment of one Mr. Alex Valle. If you enjoy the games, whether it be the gameplay, the art, the music, the aesthetic, you enjoy the games, you play the games, or watch as others play the games, and you seek the community, you're a part of the FGC. And there's a lot of people in the FGC who are seeking the community while vocally disavowing. There's a lot of people in the FGC. It's kind of a, if not to get too weird, it's kind of a furry, it's a furry fandom type situation where you don't need a Sona, you don't really need to participate in the community past claiming to be a part of the community. If you enjoy the concept of anthropomorphic animal characters, you know, everything from a full anthro to a kimono mimi. So that includes just about everybody who has a Cinder the Hellhound, a Cinder the Hellhound or Felicia folder on their fucking computers. You're a furry, or you're in the fandom. I can't help you with that. You might not like it because that is cringe, but to be cringe is to be free. And to not be considered, you would have to stop with the thirsting over kimono mimi movement. Back to the FGC. So it's kind of it's the convention is similar, I would say. The identification convention and the naming convention is a little similar. If you enjoy the games, anything about the games, if you play the games, or like watching people play the games, and if you seek the community, you're in the FGC. A lot of people, including people that I associate with, like going, hey, what even is the FGC? The FGC is a whole bunch of smaller communities and fandoms. Also very true. but we are still being counted as a group. Even the beat 'em up community is a part of the FGC, and the link is tenuous, but the link is as strong as this. There would be no head-to-head fighting games without beat 'em ups. And for linguistic and logistic purposes, beat 'em ups are considered fighting games by realtors. Not realtors, by retailers, by distributors, by devs themselves. Everyone considers beat 'em ups fighting games except for the wider FGC, maybe, and the beat 'em up community. Sorry, you're cousins. You're cousins at best, grand cousins. I don't know. But there's a lot of discussions in the FGC going on about what's gonna save the FGC, what's gonna generate new players, and I think I've figured out a good framework for this kind of thinking. And the framework is this. Money will not save the FGC. Okay? Esports is not going to save the FGC. Community will not save the FGC alone. Dev support and participation will not save the FGC. What will save the FGC? It's not discourse like this. It's not old heads going, hey, this shit came from cutthroat arcades, and we should preserve the cutthroat arcade nature so that we can keep breeding these monsters, because that's going to turn away casuals. With any video game, you have to look at it. Casuals are what's keeping your fave series alive. Unless you play a fucking niche fighter, unless your favorite fighters are really, really niche fighters, and like fan games, and like complete indie works with almost no following other than the hardcore player base. And that does contribute. That does contribute to a really large amount. But if you like any kind of fighting game with any kind of mainstream or near mainstream motion, your shit is being kept alive by casuals. Fiscally, does not say anything of the community. Fiscally, your shit is being kept alive by casuals. Unless you're going to ask every TO and every pro player to buy 4 to 6 copies and thus to buy every DLC 4 to 6 times. And there are TOs and pro players doing that to help support their scene, to make sure that there's enough machines and copies for everyone to play. Big ups, we like that. But unless every pro player, every intermediate, every pro-am is also doing that, buying at least 4 to 6 copies and buying the DLC 4 to 6 times all the time, your shit's being kept alive by dollars from casuals and dollars from other projects that may or may not be pointed towards the casual market. So we should not, when they do something for casuals, we shouldn't be too upset. Always dumbing down the game. Yes, because casuals don't play fighting games. Like, the golden age of fighting games is long behind us. Fighting games is the last vestige of that classic, hey, there is fun to be had alone. There is non-competitive fun to be had. But the apex of your experience is going to be found in competition against yourself, the computer, or another person. I would say fighting that the rawness, the raw distillation of that is still in fighting games. It's been watered down in every other genre that's persisted since the arcade. shooters, sports games being the two biggest. These are the three genres that persisted. Greatly. You can't even say, because there were very few head-to-head platformers. So I'm going to dismiss platformers from this conversation. That raw sense of versus, I'll say it. Fighting games are still keeping that spirit of raw competition, the raw adrenaline from raw competition, even in the context of not necessarily competing, but still having that essence there, which is weird because you would think that it would be sports games to hold on to that. No, no, not at all. It's fighting games. Even within that, you have to think about it. Arcade days are long behind us. There's no longer the top, I would say, motivation in gaming is no longer to have a good time while being competitive. It's just to have a good time. Nothing wrong with that. But we have to think about it like this. Fighting games are being kept alive by casual dollars. So of course they're going to do something for casual. When they do something for fighting game players, which they do more shit for fighting game players than they do casuals. The whole convention of all these new, returning characters, even having numbered sequels. Offline, or rather not offline, single player expanded content. It's all for people who are playing the game and go, hey, I'm playing the game. We are far behind the golden age of the fighting game. I think so. But we are in a new renaissance for the fighting game. We've had tons of head-to-head fighting games coming up in the past 5 years. And then there are so many more. In fact, team fighters and hyper fighters are getting another moment in the sun. That's pretty good too. We even have we have more things that aren't fighting games having that flavor and trying to take a nip at that raw sense of versus now more than anything else, especially with these 1-on-1 2 6-on-6 group games is very interesting. There's a hero shooter that's not even a hero shooter. It's a 3D arena fighter. It's coming out. I forget what it is. I might play the demo soon. It's coming out soon. There's shit like that, and I'm like, oh, that's dope. To bring it back, to take a few steps back to the thesis statement. Dev support will not save fighting games. Money will not save fighting games. And community cannot save fighting games alone. What will save fighting games is a steady acknowledgement and coexistence that you need dev support at some level, because at that point we don't have games anymore. You need community, you need bodies, you need hearts, minds, and bodies to get in and play the games. We need community. And at some point we will need money, because money and dev support are going to be the only things that help funnel new players in. Once they're playing the game, that's where the community comes in. So a steady acknowledgement and coexistence between community, money, and dev support and participation will save fighting games. Community will keep fighting games alive, will keep the FGC alive. But in terms of, and we'll allow it to persist, but in terms of growing it and getting it healthy, its retention and its joy, those are the secrets to maintaining any community. Getting attention, keeping some kind of attention, and talking. So, and The creators are an incredibly important part of this community. The creators. I'm talking about not just commentators and players who commentate, not just cosplayers, not just artists, not just musicians, not just those people, but creators of all kinds, people who make videos, people who make multimedia projects around games. Everyone is needed. Creators, TOs, and organizers. These are the people who help organize these events that allow us to come together and enjoy our favorite games. And massively important. Massively. The creators are the front-facing face of the community. The TOs put the community on their back and support the community. They're important because they're, I would say, the inward-facing faces. You go to anything from a local to a major, you're going to need to be in communication with some sort of organizer. Hey, some organizer or a staff member being directed by an organizer. There is interaction. The money is only important for marketing. Because you need to be able to grab eyes. Community, dev support, even though I would say that the old adage that once your game dies, it takes on a whole new life. It takes on a rebirth, and then you see how far the scene can take it. And I do agree with that to a point. But dev support can be incredibly integral for the growth of these communities, because without their participation via making games and balancing the games, there is no game to play. This is important to consider. I would say, so there needs to be dev support. helps give the community a fresh shot of blood in the arm every so often, but it also combines with the money to bring new eyes in. Now you're in, now you're playing the game, welcome to the community. Let's play some games. Who do you like? Who are you maining? Who are you thinking about maining? What do you think about, how do you feel about the mechanics? Do you like how it feels? You know? Things like that, I would say, are very, very important to the growth of fighting games. So, based on this treatise, and I want to hear your thoughts. I want you down in the comments telling me, do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you think what I'm saying makes any kind of sense? I really appreciate the engagement. Not to use a corporate term, but engagement is incredibly important to people making videos. And it's important to, when you're doing this kind of content, this one-on-one commentary style, this one-on-one discussion, to make it a two-way discussion. Whether the audience or the other person in conversation has ideas and opinions that you want to hear. You know? No one wants to hear, oh, you sound fucking crazy. But I think it's important to open up the dialogue. So please, below, tell me if you think what I think makes sense. I think we're gonna wrap it up here. I think I've explained it. I could definitely go into another kind of stream of thought, rambling style commentary video follow up on this, and I would definitely love to do that. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, I do want to hear your thoughts. I do want to hear what you think about the idea that we need the money, and we do need their participation and support, and the community is important to keep the FGC alive. There needs to be a community, there needs to be a game, and there needs to be a way to attract new players. and all of those are covered in this little treatise that I'm creating in my brain. Let me know what you think of it. This is your reminder to keep it locked right here on the RyderKickProductions and watch for the signal. As you know, we are getting back to streaming within about a week, maybe 2 weeks of this launching. We should be back to streaming. We might even be back to streaming the week of, 2 to 4 times a week, with YouTube uploads going up around the same time, typically also on the same days. If you miss a stream, wait a week, maybe 2 weeks for the stream you missed to go up on the YouTube channel. In the meantime, there are exclusive things like exclusive one-off LPs, video podcasts such as this, the commentary series, the Scrubtalks / Let's Talk About It commentary series, other episodes of Scrubtalks, unique exclusive one-shots, all that jazz, LPs, Superhero Time, and the various spin-off sub-series of Superhero Time, the main flagship channel where we basically fulfill the premise of the channel by exploring superhero culture and media. And who knows, where we are trying to raise money, we are currently trying to raise money for to recoup the cost for this new hard drive. We're raising money for a new setup, and we will somehow be facilitating this December to January. We're going to do the run back of the Christmas giveaway, but the equivalent of 5 gifted subs on Twitch, either through gifted subs on Twitch or through a donation to the Ko-fi, puts you in the running. $50 Steam gift card. You need at least 2 participants. Tell your friends if you're really feeling this. I'll see you next time. Peace and love.